From Visual Vengeance, if you haven't heard me say it before, you're not aware, Visual Vengeance is a sub-label of Wild Eye Releasing, and they are dedicated to releasing shot-on-video or direct-to-video movies from the 80s and 90s, and this is one of those. This is Highway to Hell from 1990. Not to be confused with that other movie that was sort of like a comedic horror film. This is an action thriller shot in Texas from 1990 from director Bret McCormick, who made a ton of stuff like this, directing under the name B.A. Jenkins. Bret McCormick did Ozone, The Abomination, and Replicator, among other things. This is a Blu-ray. It is region A, B, and C, which means it will play anywhere in the world that you pop it in. Anywhere where you would like to take a highway to hell, this will get you there. It is 79 minutes with Benton, Jennings, Richard Harrison. That Richard Harrison, yes. If you don't know Richard Harrison, he was a guy who was in like peplum movies in the 60s in Europe, and then he went and did a bunch of Asian like ninja movies in the 80s. If you know the meme of the guy with the big mustache lazily holding a Garfield phone up to his face and seriously talking on a Garfield phone, that's Richard Harrison. He's in this film a little bit, presented in English stereo with optional English subtitles. It is 4:3 standard def because that's how this stuff was shot back then. It was shot on 16 millimeter, sourced from a VHS tape, and the disclaimer up front mentions that it's sourced from the best possible material. So the basic story here is that a foul-mouthed killer escapes from a prison in Texas, and he's on the run. He stole a pistol from a guard, and he's basically looking to get away or to hit the road running. He's just going to keep going. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story. He stops at a farm or a rural house, and he kills somebody and steals the vehicle, and he has a gun that apparently it's like a 6-shoot revolver. We don't ever see him reload it, and he is firing endlessly throughout the entire film, occasionally with bullets that cause things to explode, which is just very entertaining. Eventually, he winds up meeting up or kidnapping a girl and holding her hostage. So the whole film is really kind of a hostage film, hostage road movie. Will she escape unscathed? Who will survive and what will be left of them? Meanwhile, Richard Harrison is a cop who almost put the guy away, or he put the guy away, but he had a chance to kill him years ago after he had done terrible things to his family, and he's looking for revenge. But most of that revenge comes in the form of sitting at a desk in a very small office and looking at a map and talking on the phone. Eventually he does, the one spoiler I'll give you, eventually he does actually leave the office, but the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, this really feels like they had him for a day. Now, the way it turns out, apparently they had him for 3 days, but it's very simple. It's very low budget. It's unintentionally funny a lot of the time. And if you like straight to video, micro budget films from the late 80s, early 90s, this film presents that to you. So it's mostly, I thought it was kind of dull, you know. It's a mix of like overwrought and undercooked performances, ridiculous coincidences that are narratively convenient, and repetition, and some hearty unintentional laughs. But as I always say, hats off to Bret McCormick for getting this movie made and released. You know, it was the boom of the home video era where stores were looking for walls full of product every week for people who were just heavy renters back then, and they would take almost anything. So all these little companies exploded to create things for that market, and they didn't always have to be that great. They just had to be a certain amount of time. They had to be a certain length and something that you could exploit with a cover somehow and get into the stores, because once it was in the store, once somebody had rented it, you know, everybody had the money that they were owed. So the bonus features. So Visual Vengeance, the thing about this, they put out these movies, they look, you know, at worst, they look as good as they did when they first hit tape, and at best, they look better than they ever could have back then. And a lot of times, the stuff is sourced from 16 millimeter, 8 millimeter, VHS, Betacam, whatever the stuff was shot on originally. But they load these things with extras, like ridiculous amount of extras. So a lot of times, I'll watch a bad movie, and I'll be like, I have to listen to the commentary because I need an explanation for this. And Visual Vengeance gives you more than enough explanation for everything. And you usually wind up having, if you didn't like the movie, you usually wind up having a much softer opinion on the film, or a much rosier opinion of the people who made it by the time you're done with all of this. You have a commentary by Bret McCormick. You get an interview with Bret McCormick that's 6 minutes. Oh, also Visual Vengeance, thank you for making most of these supplements not incredibly long. Red Hot Asphalt, this is the best. It is an actor Richard Harrison interview. It's a minute and a half. And it's hilarious because basically it's clearly Richard Harrison was being filmed for something else, but somebody asked him about this movie, and he basically gives a one-sentence, not very kind dismissal of the film, and then it's credits. So I thought it was very funny. Road Trip, actress Blue Thompson interview. That's 13 minutes. She was the female lead in the film. It's unfortunately shot on vertical video, which does nobody any favors unless you're looking at something on your phone like this. I am a vertical video fighter. Everything what you're seeing now is horizontal. If you happen to be watching this on a phone and you're holding the phone vertically and the image looks really too small, I want to show you something. You see this? If you do that, the video will fill your phone screen. So shot on vertical video, but she seems very cool, very engaging, and very warm and honest about her experience as a cast and apparently crew on this film. You get Blue Thompson answers tough questions. 3.5 minutes. This was a little bit more comedic, and she's basically playing up the tough lady persona and talking about her experience working on the film. Blue Thompson, sorry, I just told you that. Writing a Roadmap to Hell. This was an interview with the screenwriter Gary Kennemer. 8 minutes. Actor Tom Fagan interview. This is the guy who played the prison guard at the beginning of the film who gets overwhelmed and whose gun was apparently magic. That's 5 minutes. 38-second image gallery, visual vengeance trailer for the film. And that's a pretty good amount of extras. Well, guess what? It's not it. You get an entire second feature film on this. A film that was written and directed by the writer of Highway to Hell. This is Redneck County Fever from 1992. It is 65 minutes. 4:3 standard def, shot on video, and it's terrible. The only reason I watched more than a minute of this was for you, so I could talk about it. Wow, is this painful. So this is a pair of Valley Dude guys break down in a rural area, and the whole movie is their comedic misadventures trying to find and get money to get their car fixed so they can get to, I think it's Thanksgiving or wherever they're headed, somebody's family home. It's the Valley Surfer Dude accents are not funny for a second, and they're played up through the entire film. There's nothing as bad as a comedy that isn't funny, because you can't even laugh at it. That's what I've said for years, because if it's a horror movie that's not funny, Highway to Hell is not great, but you can laugh at it. If it's a movie that's not great, you can generally laugh at it unless it's just boring. But a comedy that's not funny, there's nowhere to go. It's just horrible. So this film was, no offense to Mr. Kennemer, horrible. What I found in the extras, I found very interesting. You watch something like this and you're like, why was this made? And they show the video cover, which was a photo of Michelle Bauer with a shotgun, and she's not in the movie. She's got nothing to do with it, which was a very common thing. It used to tick me off as a youth when I would get duped by false advertising on video covers. Now I kind of respect it as the way the old days of cinematic exploitation people and cinematic carnies, as I call them, where you hook somebody with one thing and it might not be what you're selling them, but you got that money. So this film was made for the home video market. Somebody needed a film to put out. I think they said they wanted the word redneck in the title, or they had the title and they didn't care what the movie was as long as it was product to put on a shelf. And somebody had a chance to make a film and get paid for it and get it released. So again, bravo to Mr. Kennemer for being able to make this and get paid for it. But pity the fool whoever rented this thing. Maybe somebody would like it. If you like bad shot-on-video comedies from the mid-'90s, maybe this is for you, or the early 90s, maybe this is for you. But boy, howdy, was it not for me. So the fact that it was shot on videotape, I've never been good with stuff shot on videotape unless it was a Dark Shadows or something, because it just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like a real movie. It feels too close to reality. And this being shot on video with the audio limitations and the performance limitations, it really feels like a couple of kids in high school got a camera and were just screwing around. Despite all the work that did go into it, it's just the AV quality it diminishes my ability to engage with it. So maybe that's just me. I mean, a lot of what Visual Vengeance puts out is shot on video stuff, and clearly, at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Lehighton, Pennsylvania, we do VHS Fest every year, and it's a huge show, and the people there are really into this shot and video stuff. It's just never been my bag. Extras, you get a commentary with Bret McCormick, who had a hand in helping it get made, and screenwriter Gary Kennemer. You have a Bret McCormick interview. You have screenwriter Gary Kennebaker interview. Sorry, the Bret McCormick interview is 7 minutes. The screenwriter-director interview is 12 minutes. And then you get a Visual Vengeance trailer that is 1 minute. Now, you'd think I would be done talking about this film. But no. You want to see the packaging. That's part of the thing too with Visual Vengeance, is the packaging is outstanding. So here is a cover that represents not really what you see in the film, and front and back. And this is also all, I may have mentioned earlier, all regions. So anywhere, God help you want to watch these movies, you can. Regions are not going to stand in your way. You've got a different cover, which I think is closer to what the video cover was originally on that. Then you get Far From Over, as Frank Stallone once sang. You get the artwork on the disc there, reversible cover for a different cover. Maybe that was the video cover for Highway to Hell. That looks vaguely familiar, that I might have seen that on a tape cover. And in here, they always do this. They give you these replica video store stickers that you could slap on this or whatever you like, that are the kind of thing that you would have seen. 2-day rental, gore, beta, high 8. High 8 was not likely something you'd see, although I did once see high 8 for rent. It was Chuck Norris film, as a matter of fact. Adjust tracking, which is, wouldn't probably have seen on there either. But anyway, those are amusing. And then you get the mini poster. Sometimes they tuck even more in than that. Sometimes they tuck in like air fresheners and stuff. It's crazy. You get a Redneck County Fever mini poster that, boy, does this sell a film you don't get. I wish the film had a car that was flying through the air, because it's really not that. So on Blu-ray, all region from Visual Vengeance is not just Highway to Hell 1990, but also Redneck County Fever from 1992.